Hi everyone, so today I am sharing with you this brand new wig that I have from a company called RPGSHOW. I have never tried one of their pieces before, this is a first for me, so let's go through all the features together. So the name of this wig is SofiaTheWigStylist005 and she is described as being shoulder length with a middle part. Now I want to clear something up, this description is a little bit misleading because first of all, she's definitely not shoulder length, as you can see. It does come in various different lengths. I have gone for a 16-inch. However, I believe this is a lot longer than 16 inches. I think they might have sent me a longer one by accident, which is absolutely fine by me. I love a long piece. But also, it says middle part. This is not just restricted to a middle part. There is a lot more flexibility in the parting than the description would lead you to believe. So, let's start off by talking about the hair as well itself. It is 100% human hair. It came in like a wavy style when I took it out of the box, but it did have a serious case of box hair, which is to be expected when something is shipped and is tightly wrapped up in that box for such a long period of time. So when it came, it wasn't exactly what I was expecting, but that was really normal. So I spent a bit of time just taking my heat curlers to it, putting in these waves, kind of restyling it and making it feel more me. And now it does. So really pleased with that. So 100% human hair. It was very, very easy to style with the heat. I think I left the tongs in each piece for somewhere in the region of 5 to 10 seconds. And as you can see, the curls took really, really well. And that was set at 180 degrees. The colour on this piece is described as mushroom blonde balayage, which I kind of love that name. Not really sure what it means, but I love the name anyway. It is definitely a blonde. There is this sort of a medium brown base and it's broken up with all these beautiful kind of caramelly blonde highlights, which start roughly a couple of inches from the root. I think these look really nice. I don't think they look too stripy. I think they look fairly natural. It's a really beautiful shade, especially those of you who are kind of transitioning between being blondes or being brunettes. This is a kind of middle shade, if that makes any sense. This is natural indoor lighting. I've got a big skylight window above me, so this is very much in natural light, but let me show you what it's like outside in daylight as well. Let me just take you with me. So whenever you go out into sunlight always really amplifies any warmth in a colour. So there's definitely warmth in this colour. It's not red by any means and not gingery at all, but there's definitely a lovely warmth to it as well, which is sort of picked out and highlighted when you're in that direct sunlight. So the density on this piece, I'm not exactly sure what the percentage is in terms of density, but I do know that RPGSHOW do a standard density and then a more fuller density. From the description, it does look like a fuller density is about 200%. Now this is not 200%. I did ask for a standard density, but again, as I say, I'm not sure what that is in terms of percent. If I had to muster a guess, I'd probably say somewhere around the 140, 150 mark, but I can't be sure. If I find out in the meantime, I'll pop it in the comments and let you know. But it's full hair, but it doesn't feel too much. I don't feel sort of any kind of permatease in there. It's flat, it's not too poofy. I really like it. I think you can definitely get away with this. If you're somebody who's used to having fairly natural density wigs, I don't think this is too far above that. It still, I think, looks very natural. I'm really pleased with it. I would wear this quite happily as somebody who wears generally quite low density pieces. Now I mentioned earlier that I'd asked for a 16-inch and I don't think this is a 16-inch. Look, even with the waves, look where this comes down to. This is coming down right to the middle of my chest. So I think this is probably in the region of like an 18 to 20 inch length. It is long. However, there are layers within it as well. So look, you've got much shorter layers on the top, which just creates this nice shape. And again, this helps with the density as well, being a slightly higher density. It doesn't feel too much because a lot of the weight has been taken out because of all these different lengths in the piece. You've got these really long ones at the bottom and then getting slightly longer, and then these shorter ones on the top. So it makes a really lovely shape, especially when it's curled as well. So I really like that. So I'm coming a bit closer because I want to show you the lace front and the hairline and the parting on this piece. So as you can see, it has untrimmed lace at the moment, so I do still need to trim this, but look how almost invisible that lace is. So that lace extends all the way down to the ears, right the way down. Now you might be thinking, oh, but there's hair here. Well, that's actually my bio hair, because I do have bio hair, and what I'll do once that lace is trimmed, I will probably pull out some of my bio hair, because as you can see, it's not that far off in colour to the actual wig itself, so I'll be able to blend some of those little bits in once that lace is trimmed. So that lace comes all the way down on both sides. So you've got a full natural hairline created for you. And then speaking of hairline, now I love hairlines like this. You've kind of got this more sparse area along the front, which kind of mimics a very more natural looking hairline. We haven't all got really dense hair at the front here. It kind of starts off fairly sparse and then it gets thicker as you go back. And this is what this piece is aiming to kind of imitate, which I think is great. Now there is evidence of the knotting, as you can see here, but the knots are small, they are very tiny, and I do think it looks really good. Really pleased with that. Really love that effect. I'll say that a million times. I love that sparseness here and how it gets much denser as you go back. I think it just looks a bit more natural. And the other thing I like as well is that it's not a perfectly curved hairline either. It's kind of got a shape to it, which sort of mimics, again, a natural hairline. It's not just a perfectly curved line, which can look a little bit unrealistic at times. So that's the hairline. Now, one thing I do want to show you is the parting. Now, as I said earlier, they say it's middle part. It isn't just a middle part, because there is a big lace top section here, which means that you can part the hair any way you want. Now this is what the wig arrived with this sort of parting where it is now. And as you can see, it looks like scalp straight through there. And this is a lace top wig. Underneath this lace is my bio hair, which is kind of this colour. So theoretically, you should see like a scalp here. It should look like my dark roots, but it doesn't. It looks like a natural looking parting. It looks like scalp. And anywhere I part this should give exactly the same effect. So let's do an example over here. There we go, same again. Looks like scalp through there. Now, if this parting isn't open enough for you, or if you want to increase that scalp appearance even more, then you can use some of the silicone tape that they provide you with in the box, or you can add some makeup onto that parting area just to open it up even wider if that's your preference. Okay, let's move on to the inside of the cap, because there are some very unique features in this piece which I'm excited to show you. So here is the inside of the cap, and as I've mentioned earlier, there is that full lace front which runs from ear to ear, currently untrimmed, but I will trim it before I wear this piece. Then that lace front extends all the way back into this huge lace top section. And actually what I hadn't realised is it looks like there is a double layer of lace in this part here, which is probably what was really helping create that scalp effect. When you saw how natural it looked earlier, this sort of double lace section really can help with that, as opposed to a single lace, which you will maybe be more likely to see your bio hair colour underneath, and the scalp perhaps won't look quite as natural. So that is a really nice feature. Then we've got on the back, we've got enclosed wefting, and that's all around the back and the sides. So you can see this is sort of a mesh type material, which is fairly common with wigs. It has a nice amount of stretch to it, and it prevents any of the hair from the top of the wig coming through the bottom, which can be a pain to try and poke back through. So again, a really nice feature. We've then got 3 combs. We've got one at each side, here and here, and then we've got one at the back. These may or may not be useful for you, so if they're not, or if you don't need them, then you can unpick this stitching and remove them. In fact, you don't need to unpick the stitching at all, because these are velcroed on. So if they're no use to you, you can simply peel them off with velcro, which is really great. Now at the back here, you've got that sort of nape section, which you can see has a stretch to it as well. And you've got this almost like a toggle type thing at the very back here, which, as you can see, if you pull down, will loosen. And then if you pull up, will tighten. So you can actually tighten this piece and loosen it using this little feature here, which I have never seen before. Quite ingenious, really. It's a different way of changing the size of your piece so that it fits you more accurately. So yeah, that is the unique feature that I was mentioning earlier. The other thing that I really like about this piece is the design around the ear, and you can see you've got this lovely curve, which is where the ear will sit just underneath. Sometimes wigs have these like ear tabs, which inevitably end up sort of pushing against the back of your ear and can be a little bit uncomfortable at times. Not to the point that I wouldn't wear them, but I really love this design. I just think you don't feel it when it's on. There's nothing pushing against your ear. It's actually sitting around and in the shape of your ear. So that's a really great feature. I like that a lot. Now, before I forget, which I just did actually, this piece does actually come with a wig band, which is kind of like a hairband that you can wear that's attached to the inside of the wig and will come down to the back towards the nape. And it's just an additional measure of security to help make sure that that wig stays in place for a whole day's worth of wear. I am honestly not a big fan of these. I find it's just an additional kind of layer or additional bit of sort of pressure on my head that I am not a fan of. However, I know some people really love them, and that's great, and it's a really great feature for those people who are big fans of them. But the nice thing about this is that with this RPG wig, you can remove it. And so for me, this is a great bonus. I can take it off. I don't have to use it. So that is exactly what I've done before wearing it. There we go. The other thing I want to mention is that when you look up closely at that lace at the front, you can sort of see this discoloration here. This is really normal. This is where the knots have been lightly bleached. And so you do get this kind of brown kind of effect on the lace where those knots have been bleached. The size on this particular one is a size 1. Now, again, the sizing terminology with this piece is different to what I've come across before. So you do need to double check the size guide on the website. A size 1 will fit somebody with a circumference of 21.5 to 22 inches. Now, I am a 21.75 and this fits me perfectly. I didn't need to tighten it, I didn't need to loosen it. I just put it on as it came and it fit really snugly. Especially considering I have this little bit of bulk at the back where I've tied up my bio hair and pinned it up. This fits really nice, really flush. Okay, so I have her back on for one final show. Let me do a quick 360 of her all the way around. this is SofiaTheWigStylist005 from RPGSHOW. Let me know what you think of her, if you like her, and if you've got any questions, then just pop them in the comments.